Galaxy Volume 2 is written and directed by James Gunn, who also directed the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and this film once again stars Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, and Dave Bautista as Drax, as well as the voices of Bradley Cooper as Rocket, and according to the credits, Vin Diesel once again as Baby Groot this time though. We also see the return of the character Yondu, played by Michael Rooker, and the character Nebula, played by Karen Gillan, who I just recently found out was the female lead in the horror movie Oculus, a film that I really like. I did not know that until after I saw this film. In this film, we are introduced to Star-Lord's father, played by the legendary Kurt Russell himself. The equally legendary Sylvester Stallone also appears here, but does not get nearly as much screen time as Russell or any of the actors I mentioned, which to me was a bit of a bummer. But in the theater, I was assuming that his limited amount of screen time in this movie was a setup for his character to be in a much bigger role in a future installment. I have learned since seeing this movie that James Gunn has said that it is Marvel's plan to see more of him and that his character is very important to the MCU. My hope is that they will make that work. Now, I saw the first Guardians of the Galaxy in the theater back in 2014, and while I enjoyed it very much for its cast, visuals, humor, action sequences, soundtrack, and visual effects and gave it a thumbs up, I also said that it was my least favorite of all the films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Please do not turn this review off because I already admitted that I gave it a thumbs up nevertheless. Why do I feel that it is my least favorite film in the MCU franchise? Well, as we all know by now with these films is that all of the Thor films, the Captain America films, Ant-Man and Doctor Strange all exist within the same world as the Iron Man films, the first of which began the MCU back in 2008. The Guardians of the Galaxy films take place in that same world too, obviously, with those characters due to appear in Avengers Infinity War, something that I am really looking forward to seeing. However, the Guardians of the Galaxy films to me do not feel like they belong in the same world as the rest of the MCU movies, even though yes, I know they are a Marvel comic book too. Their style and tone, while I like it and have enjoyed it very much, make them both feel like they are their own franchise and not part of the Marvel franchise. Thor and Doctor Strange, and even the scenes with the Chitauri in the first Avengers movie, I felt succeeded in combining the otherworldly fantasy and the reality while balancing the two. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies don't really. If I had no knowledge of them being installments in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or even a Marvel comic book, I would probably feel differently about them. But they are installments of that universe, and I already have that knowledge. Hell, at times while watching this, I felt like I was watching Hellboy 3. That's how distant from the rest of the MCU this movie feels. Still, I definitely enjoyed this movie just as much as the first film for all the same reasons I enjoyed the first film, and it's nice that each of the characters I mentioned in the beginning have their own character moments in this film, and the film does flesh them out in nice ways, even though the character of Drax seems to be in the spotlight the least of them all. Overall, I give this film a thumbs up, even though I still feel that these two films are my least favorites in the MCU franchise, and feel like they are their own thing and not a Marvel movie thing. Thank you so much for watching, and there will be more because Lehtonen's home theater is always showing.